Unlock the miraculous power of your subconscious, 7 days to divine healing and supernatural energy. In the quaint village of Hollowfield, nestled between rolling hills and ancient trees, faith drifted like morning mist. Mary watched as sunbeams danced upon the chapel's stained glass windows, their colors bleeding into the sanctuary. She prayed daily, her heart stretched thin by the weight of her beloved son, Tom. At merely 8 years old, he was battling a terminal illness, each night bringing the specter of despair closer to their doorstep. The villagers whispered, some in support, others in doubt, as if their skepticism could somehow erase the divine-like ache in her heart. Father Bernard, the wise old priest, had spoken of the miraculous potential that lay buried within one's subconscious, a hidden wellspring of faith that could stir heaven's hand. Believe, Mary, he had urged, his eyes twinkling as if lit from within. Miracles often start in the quiet corners of the heart where hope resides, waiting to be awakened. Her heart raced at this prospect. Could her genuine cries dance with the echoes of divine possibility? As the sun set on the first day, Mary sank to her knees, tears mixing with fervent prayers that filled the chapel with a warmth that seemed alive. The air shimmered, as if filled with ethereal presence. Light flickered, and shadows darted across the walls like gentle spirits brushing past. With each prayer, she envisioned Tom's laughter ringing through their small home, the joy of a healed child. The following days blended into a tapestry of scripture, whispered prayers, and meditative moments. Each dawn, she rose early, feeling a growing connection with the divine, a sensation akin to gentle waves rolling onto the shore, soothing yet powerful. But doubt bore heavy on her spirit. Her siblings questioned her fervency, linking her faith to a foolish pursuit in the light of overwhelming odds. Friends recoiled as if her faith had become a peculiar thing, their eyes clouded with disbelief. Before we continue, I need to tell you about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. On the 7th day, during a community prayer service, Mary laid her heart bare before God and the congregation. Just as she poured out her soul, a sudden hush enveloped the room. Gasps cascaded like ripples across the chapel as Tom, once bedridden, stood. The moment held, electric and unreal. His tiny frame, adorned in pajamas, glowed with a light reminiscent of an angel. The villagers stood frozen, disbelief melting into awe. Mary's heart soared. Was this a miracle or a moment conjured by her unwavering belief? Tears streamed down her cheeks as cheers erupted like thunder. For them all, doubt had transformed into hope. Yet, as Mary embraced Tom, questions gnawed at her. Was this truly divine? Had her subconscious teachings unlocked this extraordinary moment? As joy filled the air, a soft voice in her heart whispered of deeper truths yet undiscovered. With the light of hope ascending, she felt the shadows of doubt creep back in, casting uncertainty over the miracle that had unfolded. The villagers rejoiced, yet she remained caught in the crossfire of faith and doubt. Now, standing amidst her community transformed, she wondered if this was merely the end of despair or perhaps the beginning of a greater journey yet to be unveiled. As the cheers echoed through the chapel, Mary felt a powerful surge of emotion. Her heart was a symphony of joy, confusion, and a creeping anxiety. While the villagers sang praise and clapped their hands in disbelief, she held Tom tightly, the warmth of his little body grounding her in that moment. But as celebration surrounded her, silence echoed inside her soul. What now? Tom's laughter filled the air, resonating like the sweetest bells. Each giggle, each joyful shout tugged at Mary's heartstrings, igniting a flicker of hope that had long been eclipsed by despair. But the doubts continued to weave through her mind like shadows. Was this miracle a fleeting moment, or had she unlocked something lasting? Father Bernard, witnessing the scene unfold, approached them both, his smile radiating peace. Mary, you have drawn from the depths of faith that many have only skimmed the surface of. God's hand is upon you. His words soothed her like a soft caress, yet the urgency in her spirit would not quiet. Father, is this true? Has my belief truly created this? She asked, glancing at Tom, whose eyes sparkled with life. Father Bernard placed a gentle hand on her shoulder. Faith is a bridge to the miraculous. You must now nurture this, pour your heart into it. What is birthed in faith grows under the warmth of love and belief. He looked toward the congregation, all eyes fixed on Mary and Tom. More miracles can sprout in this fertile ground. The villagers nodded, their faces reflecting a blend of awe and reverence. They began to chant softly, an unsteady invocation of hope and belief, prayer threading through the air like a gentle breeze. A collective spirit lifted as they felt a palpable change, but was it merely the buzz of excitement, or something deeper resonating through their hearts? As days passed, Mary hardly left Tom's side. Their routine transformed, each moment was filled with laughter, prayers, and animated play. Yet, as the sun began to set, doubt loomed like a dark cloud on the horizon. Each evening, as shadows crept into their home, she found herself searching for signs that could soothe her worries, proof that this miracle was real and enduring. One evening, the golden light of dusk spilled into their modest kitchen as Mary prepared dinner. She caught Tom gazing out the window, his lively spirit momentarily frozen. Curious, she walked to him and followed his gaze, seeing nothing but the silhouettes of trees against the fading sky. "What's wrong, sweetheart?" she asked, kneeling beside him. "I want to help others like me, Mom. I want them to laugh too," he whispered, a seriousness in his little voice that struck her heart. In that instant, she realized this journey was not just about healing Tom, it was about fostering a faith that could ripple out into their community. "Then let us do it together," Mary replied, excitement igniting within her. "Let us show everyone what love can do." She felt a spark of determination, rekindled by her son's innocent wish. The next day, Mary gathered the village children, urging them to come together in hope and joy like never before. As they shared stories of their faith, she noticed an undeniable shift in the atmosphere. The air hummed with a promise of the miraculous, an energy that had been absent for years. Then came a moment that sent chills down her spine. As they gathered around the old oak tree outside the chapel, a golden light began to envelop the children. It was as if the sun were pouring itself over them, illuminating their laughter, joy, and dreams. But just when Mary thought the energy might erupt into a glorious transformation, the doubt flickered again. Could they carry this newfound hope? Could they sustain it amidst the challenges life might throw their way? The answer was shrouded in mystery, a whisper of divine truth waiting to be unveiled. As Mary stood awash in the light, she inwardly questioned what would come next. What was God preparing for them all? Would they unlock even greater possibilities ahead? The air around the oak tree shimmered, a tangible current of faith weaving through the children gathered beneath its branches. They were bright, eager faces lit by the dance of light that surrounded them. Their laughter rang like church bells, echoing into the stillness of the afternoon. Mary watched, heart swelling, every echo of joy reaffirming the miracle that had begun with Tom. "Let us sing," shouted one child. Soon, a spontaneous melody rose, a sweet mixture of voices that danced with the wind. Words of love and hope floated into the sky, mingling with the golden rays spilling from the sun. It felt like a celebration, a divine chorus, lifting them toward something transcendent. Yet, as the notes soared, Mary felt a stir of anxiety within her. Her thoughts darted back to her doubts. Was this a momentary spark or the beginning of something true and lasting? When the sunlight began to fade, would the light in their hearts dim with it? She yearned for assurance that their faith could withstand the tests that awaited. Father Bernard, sensing her unrest, drew closer. "Mary," he said softly, "believe that what is ignited in heart can never be snuffed out. Each time you nurture others, you create a new cycle of faith. They learn, and they share, and miracles multiply." His words pierced through her doubts, igniting hope. She turned her attention back to Tom, who was playing with a few of the younger children. His laughter was pure and uninhibited, a beautiful reminder of the joy they had just reclaimed. How could she let any doubt overshadow their journey together? As the sun slipped lower, Mary decided it was time to turn this moment into action. "Children," she called, capturing their attention. How about we do something wonderful together? Let us use our pieces of joy and hope to bring happiness to those who need it. Their eyes sparkled with excitement, and a chorus of yes erupted. It was as if the very air crackled with a newfound purpose. Mary felt a rush of exhilaration. This was not merely a task but a calling. They formed a plan. With baskets in hand, they would collect flowers from the meadows and art supplies from their homes. Together, they would create a gift cards bursting with color and positivity, flowers that carried their love to deliver to the elderly in their village. As they worked, Mary felt a warmth enveloping her heart, pulling her closer to a sense of community she had craved for so long. They painted, laughed, and sang not only as children but as a family united by faith. In that space, every worry seemed to melt away. But as night approached and the last sunrays kissed the earth goodbye, a shadow crossed her heart. What if they're not received well? She mused, barely voicing the thought. What if our gifts are rejected? Mom, Tom's voice broke through her spiraling thoughts. Love always finds a way, right? Just like we found each other. His innocent wisdom settled over her, gentle and soothing. Right, my love, she said, beaming at him, renewed in resolve. Love always finds a way. And thus, with hearts alight and baskets full, they set off to share their creations, not knowing the ripples of change they had started. The village awaited, cloaked in twilight, the air thick with anticipation. Would they be welcomed with open arms? Or would some old doubts linger, threatening to dim the flame they had kindled anew? As Mary and the children approached the first house, a siren call echoed from deep within. What doors would their simple acts of faith swing open? What joy could truly unfold in the meeting of hearts and spirits? The first house loomed quietly ahead, its porch bathed in the soft glow of candlelight. Shadows flitted behind curtained windows, curiosity waiting in patient silence. Mary's heart raced as they drew near. Each step felt like a prayer, threading hope into the very fabric of the night. Here we go, everyone, Mary announced, though her voice trembled. The children clustered around her, cotton candy clouds of bright colors woven from crayons and paper flowers. They were ready to spread their joy, but the unknown held its breath. Tom lifted his basket higher, grinning widely. Let us knock. His enthusiasm was infectious. As he stepped forward, Mary felt the tiny flicker of doubt within her heart wane, replaced by the glow of trust. The door creaked open, revealing Mrs. Adams, her silver hair gleaming like a halo in the light. Her expression transformed from surprise to warm recognition. "Oh, my dear children!" she exclaimed, her voice sweet and melodious. "What brings you here?" Tom stepped forward with confidence. "We made these for you. They're cards and flowers full of love." With that, he handed her the vibrant bouquet, a splash of colors that contrasted with the evening's destiny. Mrs. Adams' eyes glimmered with tears as she accepted the gift. "Why, how lovely! This brightens my night," she said, her voice trembling with emotion. The children broke into smiles, nourished by the pure delight blooming in her heart. As each child offered their tokens, Mary observed the scene unfold, a living tapestry of connection weaving through laughter and gratitude. "See?" Tom whispered to her, sensing her awe. "Love truly finds a way." The moment swelled around them, an embrace of grace buoying their spirits. Mrs. Adams invited them inside, her house a sanctuary of memories. "Please, come in. Stay for tea," she beckoned, her heart overflowing with joy. Inside, the warm scents of tea mixed with the sweetness of baked goods, filling the air. "You children have filled my heart tonight," she said, patting the table laden with treats. "May I share a story with you?" The children nodded eagerly, instinctively gathering closer to her, the elder's gentle wisdom drawing them in like moths to a flame. As Mrs. Adams began recounting tales of her youth, of challenges met and love shared, Mary closed her eyes for a moment. Each story was a thread of history, echoing faith and resilience, stitching together generations through shared experiences. Mary realized that their simple act of kindness sparked a chain reaction of hope. She could see it glimmering in the children's eyes as they absorbed every word. They weren't just delivering gifts, they were kindling a deep-rooted connection, breathing new life into faces marked by loneliness. Hours slipped away as laughter and stories intertwined under the soft glow of the lamp. And when it was time to leave, Mary felt differently. A heaviness she hadn't even noticed began to lift. As they stepped outside, a cool breeze danced around them. The village had transformed in those short hours. Once quiet and mysterious, now it pulsed with the rhythm of life and love, where people were waiting to interact, engage, and share. With hearts aglow, they headed to the next house, renewed momentum driving them forward. Each child's laughter echoed off the cobblestones, and the moon smiled down with knowing grace. Yet, as they walked, Mary sensed the spirit of something greater surrounding them. What if we are beginning something bigger than we ever imagined? Tom broke the silence, like starting a new tradition? His innocent inquiry held the promise of tomorrow. Indeed, my love, she replied, feeling the warmth of possibility blooming within her. The night was still alive, and the path before them was yet unknown. They approached another door, anticipation swirling in the air. Rich with potential, would they break down walls, weave together souls, and spark a revival of kindness in a world yearning for love? The threshold beckoned once more, and Mary's heart quickened with wonder. What revelations awaited them behind that door? The second door stood solid before them, polished wood reflecting the moonlight, as if guarding secrets yet untold. Mary felt the energy around them thick with purpose. The children were buzzing, their excitement palpable, each heartbeat syncopated with their desire to make a difference. "Shall we knock?" Mary asked, her voice softened by prayerful anticipation. "Let us." They chorused, their eagerness igniting her spirit further. Tom, a few paces ahead, raised his hand, knuckles poised to tap. As his fingers met the door, a burst of hope shot through Mary's heart, a sign that their journey was unfolding as meant to be. The door creaked open, revealing a kind face framed by glasses, Mr. Johnson. His hair, white like freshly fallen snow, framed eyes that sparkled with wisdom. "Who do we have here?" he asked, smiling warmly as the glow of their creations caught his eye. "We brought you gifts," cried Annie, holding up her hand-drawn card, its colors radiating joy. Mr. Johnson's expression shifted, recognition sparking in his thoughtful gaze. "It's been a long time since I've seen a child's smile like yours," he said, his voice gravelly yet gentle. "Please, come in." The children filed inside, curiosity lacing their steps. The cozy living room was a treasure trove of memories, bookshelves crammed with stories, photographs framed in smiling nostalgia, and a hearth that murmured of warmth. Mary marveled at the sight. Each element spoke of a life well lived, a heart filled with longing for connection. Mr. Johnson gestured to an old armchair near the fireplace. "Make yourselves at home. Would you like to hear a tale?" A chorus of eager nods filled the room, and he began, his voice weaving a rich narrative of hope, loss, and the power of community. As he shared, each story became a pearl threaded onto a necklace of devotion. Mary felt something deep within her stir. It was as if the stories unleashed a flood of light, each word a whisper from the divine, revealing the heartbeat of a shared existence. He spoke of neighbors caring for one another, of small acts of kindness blooming amid hardship. Suddenly, a child gasped beside her, eyes wide. "That sounds just like us," he exclaimed. His voice rang clear with excitement, awakening echoes of truth. "That's exactly right," Mr. Johnson replied. "Kindness is a song that sings through all generations. Remember, dear ones, the heart's melody doesn't fade, it reverberates in every soul touched by love." The light in the room brightened, the spirit of gratitude vividly alive. Mary felt the truth resonate in her core. This was a shared journey, a collective story written by hands, kindling hope anew. As the tales continued, they spoke not just of kindness, but of resilience, the power of standing together in adversity. Mary couldn't shake the feeling that this wasn't merely a visit, it was a revival of faith thrumming through their lives. When it was time to leave, she could almost taste the sweetness of newfound purpose in the room. The children, buoyed by possibility, waved their goodbyes, laughter spilling into the night. Stepping back outside, the air alive with energy, Mary glanced toward the next house looming in the distance. "Do you feel it?" she asked the children, her voice a whisper wrapped in wonder. "What?" Tom replied, brushing his fingers against the cool night air. "Our spirits, they're interwoven with love, like a tapestry reflecting the heavens." The realization took root in her heart, making the promise of a new tradition shimmer brightly. As they ventured forth, anticipation surged. What ancient stories would the next door hold? Was the village ready for this wave of kindness that seemed to echo through time? With every footstep, Mary sensed the momentum grow, a blessing awaiting manifestation. Thoughts danced in her mind, tinged with holy excitement. What divine interactions still awaited them on this miraculous night? As they moved forward, the children huddled close, whispers of wonder curling in the cool night breeze. The way ahead shimmered mystically under the silver moon. Mary felt a sense of promise wrap around her like a warm embrace. This was no ordinary pursuit, it was an unfolding adventure, a pilgrimage toward making their community shine brighter through love. Approaching the next door, a sturdy gray structure stood proudly yet seemed to cradle its secrets within. The gentle hum of the night surrounded them, as if all of creation was holding its breath in anticipation. Mary's heart thrummed in harmony with the mystery that lay beyond, igniting a spark in her spirit. "Here we are," she said, pressing her hand over her heart. The children gathered around her like bright little stars, their eyes glimmering with brightness. "Ready? Let us do this!" shouted Annie, her enthusiasm infectious. With renewed courage, Tom reached out once more, his knuckles tapping the wood. As the door swung open, a soft light poured out, illuminating the shadows. Inside stood Mrs. Hargrove, a wonderfully kind lady with silver hair cascading like waterfalls down her back. Her presence radiated warmth, and her smile welcomed them in like an embrace of love. "Come in, dears," she exclaimed, her voice smooth as honey. "What a delightful surprise." The aroma of freshly baked cookies wafted through the air, drawing smiles from the children as they stepped inside. The room was filled with beautifully arranged flowers, their vibrant colors mirroring the enthusiasm of the children. It felt like stepping into a haven echoing tales of joy and peace, a true testament to love in action. Mary ventured further into the room, her eyes sparkling as they roamed the walls adorned with paintings that captured moments of kindness, a neighbor lending a hand, a child sharing their toys, friends laughing together. "These are beautiful," she said, a gentle awe illuminating her voice. "Oh, every painting has its story," Mrs. Hargrove replied, a twinkle evident in her eyes. "Stories of connection and hope are what keep us alive. Would you like to hear one?" The eager nods of the children filled the room, their excitement floating like petals in the air. Mrs. Hargrove sat them all down, her voice transforming the atmosphere into a sanctum of sacred sharing. She spoke of her cherished memories, instances when simple kindness created ripples of love, touching even those far away. With each tale, Mary found her heart swelling. The stories were infused with a divine revelation. Acts of love, no matter how small, could change lives in ways they couldn't even begin to comprehend. Her spirit swayed, warmed by this truth, and she felt a surge of purpose wash over her. "What is the biggest thing you learned from all these stories?" A child piped up, curiosity bright in his eyes. Mrs. Hargrove smiled, her wisdom spilling forth. "That we're never alone. Each act of kindness connects us. Love is the thread that stitches our hearts together, forming a beautiful tapestry. Remember, you may not see the impact right away, but kindness creates a powerful echo." Mary breathed in deeply, her soul ignited with that understanding. Each of them was a part of something grander, pioneer spirits shaping the vibrant heritage of love within their village. As they prepared to say goodbye, a feeling lingered in the air, something wondrous yet ungraspable. Stepping back outside, the night enveloped them with its gentle blanket once more. With hearts aglow, the children began to chatter, bubbling over with excitement about who they would visit next. Mary looked toward the final house at the end of the street, the glow emanating almost like a beckoning light. Her heart raced with anticipation. What if, she mused, her voice trailing off. What incredible stories wait for us there? The children held their breath, captivated by the prospect of the next revelation. The question hung in the air, pregnant with divine potential, as they stepped forward into the night, ready to unlock the next chapter of their beautiful journey. They moved toward the last house, anticipation buzzing in the air like the soft hum of a hymn. Mary felt a flutter in her heart, each step feeling heavier with an expectant sense of wonder. The children crowded around her, their faces aglow with eagerness, each one lovely in the light of their shared journey. The house was older than the rest, its paint peeling, yet it had a charm that pulled at Mary's spirit. The front porch held a single wooden chair, creaking slightly in the wind. It beckoned them to sit a while, to pause and listen. Will it really be as magical as what we've seen so far? Annie whispered, her voice tinged with innocent hope. Mary nodded, the faith that had grown inside her spilling over. I believe it will be. Each story adds to our light. Tom stepped forward and knocked softly on the faded door. They waited, breaths caught in collective anticipation. After a brief moment that felt like eternity, the door creaked open, revealing Mr. Thompson, a gentle old man with twinkling blue eyes that seemed to dance with the secrets of the universe. Welcome, my young friends. He greeted, his voice a soft rumble like distant thunder. What brings you to my humble abode on this beautiful night? Stories. They chimed in unison, as though it were a secret chant, the word layer upon layer of hope binding them. Mr. Thompson chuckled and ushered them inside, where the air was filled with the scent of herbs and aged paper. The walls were lined with books, each volume a potential adventure, each spine a vessel of wisdom waiting to be opened. Ah, stories, he said, settling into a worn-out armchair that seemed to cradle him like a beloved friend. Gather round. I have many to share. The children rushed toward him, their excitement spilling into the cozy room. As he began to share tales of his youth, the room transformed. The air thickened with excitement and faith, and Mary felt the spirit weaving through the words, binding them all in a tapestry of shared experience. Mr. Thompson spoke of unexpected kindnesses found in rough times, of a few humble folks coming together to lift a neighbor who had lost everything. Each story felt like placing a pebble in a pond, the ripples extending far beyond their vision, each act of compassion resonating through time. There was a time, he said, his voice softening, when I was lost, and a simple act of kindness from a stranger illuminated my path. It reminded me that love is always present, waiting to spring forth, even in the darkest of nights. Mary's heart expanded as each story poured forth. There was a truth in what the old man said, the unseen ways love spread, the miraculous whispers of hope that intertwined their lives. A hush fell over the room when Mr. Thompson leaned forward. But you see, dear children, the greatest story is not one that's told, it's the one you will write with your own lives. The kindness you bring to others is what keeps this world lit, even when the darkness looms. The weight of his words hung gently in the air, wrapping around their hearts. Time felt suspended. Mary could feel the echoes of what they learned. Kindness creates legacies. As they prepared to leave, Mr. Thompson placed his hand upon Mary's shoulder, a warm gesture infused with encouragement. Remember, the love you give will echo in ways you're yet to see. The children stepped back out into the night, hearts swirling with newfound purpose, sparking with the thrill of possibility. The moon illuminated their path, brighter than before, as if affirming the truth shared. They paused at the edge of the porch, feeling the divine weave of every experience. What next? Mary wondered aloud. What new stories wait for us in our own lives? The night seemed to shimmer with promise, and the children, filled with faith and excitement, knew the adventure was far from over. They looked at one another, determination ignited in their eyes, ready to embrace whatever awaited them next. What unexpected miracles would they discover in their daily lives? As they started down the familiar road, the moon casting a silver light over the path, a sense of adventure washed over them. Each step felt like a beat in a grand symphony of life, their thoughts echoing with possibilities. Mary turned to her friends, her heart warm with the tales they had just heard. What if kindness is not just something we give, but something we can also receive? Annie's eyes widened. That's true. Maybe we'll meet someone who needs our help tomorrow. Tom nodded, his mind racing in tandem with theirs. And what if each good deed we do changes the world in some way? The thought hung in the air like a prayer waiting to take flight. What if their actions were not just small gestures, but seeds planted in the heart of humanity? As they reached the town square, a flickering lamp caught Mary's attention. It stood alone, casting shadows that danced like the stories they carried. "Look, everyone!" she exclaimed, her finger pointing to a familiar sight, a small park bench where Mr. Jensen often rested. "What if we share our stories with others, just like Mr. Thompson?" Eager, they walked over and noticed Mr. Jensen sitting there, his cane beside him, eyes gazing up at the night sky. It was a comfort for him, a reminder of days gone by. "Good evening, Mr. Jensen," they called out, their voices bright and cheerful, like the early morning light filtering through the trees. The old man turned, a gentle smile gracing his weathered face. "Ah, my young friends. What brings you here so late?" "We've just heard wonderful stories of kindness," Mary replied, excitement bubbling in her chest. "Would you share some of yours with us?" The spark in Mr. Jensen's eyes ignited as he leaned forward, his voice rich with nostalgia. "Oh, I have many. But let me tell you about the time I had lost my way in the woods as a young lad." As he spoke, their world transformed again. With each word, they saw the woods through his eyes, dark and daunting at first, but then filled with unexpected light as a friendly fox guided him back to safety. "Sometimes," Mr. Jensen said, punctuating his story, "the answers we seek are closer than we think. We just need to look with open hearts." Mary felt something shift within her, as if a door in her spirit had creaked open. The realization dawned: kindness isn't just the act, it's the connection, the fabric that binds them as family, as friends, and as a community. Feeling emboldened, the children took turns sharing their own stories of kindness. They spoke of their families, of moments shared, and the small joys of being together. Each tale harmonized with Mr. Jensen's, adding a layer of light to the night. As their laughter mingled with the soft noises of the evening, a brisk wind carried the scent of blooming flowers, the promise of spring on its way. "Let us promise to continue this," Mary suggested, her voice steady. "Let us share our stories and listen to others. We can change our world through kindness." "Absolutely," Annie said with a triumphant smile. Just then, a shimmering star fell across the sky, trailing light into the darkness. The group stood silent, awestruck by the sight, a reminder that even the smallest light can break the night. But as the echoes of their laughter faded, a question rose in Mary's heart: were they truly ready for the journey that lay ahead, filled with unexpected challenges and divine opportunities? What stories were yet to unfold in the days to come? What acts of kindness would intertwine their fates? The gentle breeze whispered through the trees, weaving the magic of the night with their dreams. The star that had fallen was still a radiant glow in their hearts, filling them with an unspoken promise of what lay ahead. As they gradually gathered their thoughts, they could sense a deeper calling within. "Can you feel it?" Tom asked, his gaze fixed on the horizon where the moon hung like a guardian. "It's as if something big is about to unfold." Mary nodded, feeling the warmth of connection between them. "Maybe it's a reminder to stay open at all times. We must be prepared to hear the call of kindness." Annie looked up, her voice laced with curiosity. "What if our kindness leads us to someone truly in need? What if by sharing our stories, we inspire them to change?" The gleam in their eyes reflected hope as they spoke, understanding that every interaction held the potential for transformation. Mr. Jensen observed them with a knowing smile, one that seemed to speak volumes about the heart's journey. "They say stories are like rivers, flowing through time," he said softly. "The waters ebb and flow, shaping the banks they touch. And just like a river can carve a new path, so can your words and deeds carve new paths in the hearts of others." His words lingered in the night air, stirring something deep inside each child. They were not mere spectators, they were active participants in the grand unfolding of life. What happens when we choose kindness? Mary wondered aloud. Do we truly see each other? Perhaps we do, Tom replied, his spirit fired up with enthusiasm. Perhaps we find pieces of ourselves in others when we act from the heart. Just then, a rustling sound came from the nearby bushes. Their eyes turned in unison, both startled and intrigued. From the shadows emerged an elderly woman, her figure draped in a worn shawl and her face etched with lines that told stories of her own. She paused as she approached, her gaze carrying both caution and grace. "Good evening," she whispered, her voice trembling like the leaves in the wind. "I couldn't help but overhear your conversation about kindness." "Hello," Mary responded warmly. "We were just talking about how stories can connect us." The woman smiled faintly, yet her eyes shimmered with unspoken pain. "There was a time when kindness felt like a distant memory for me. My heart has been heavy with loss. I often wonder if I'll ever find comfort again." The children exchanged glances, sensing that this moment was a gift, a call to show the kindness they had spoken about so fervently. "What's your name?" Annie asked gently. "Margaret," the woman replied, her voice small. "Margaret, we're here to listen," Tom said, sincerity dripping from his words. "Perhaps you have a story to share?" As they settled closer, Margaret began to speak, her voice gaining strength. She recounted a time when she had helped a stranger in a storm, only to discover the stranger was an old friend, lost and alone. The light in her eyes flickered as she shared how that single act of kindness had redefined her relationships, and how they had since walked together through their struggles. Their hearts swelled with compassion. They understood they were standing on the brink of something extraordinary. It wasn't just about sharing stories, it was about weaving a tapestry of hope and healing. Margaret's story reminded them all that even life's burdens could be transformed through kindness. And each act, no matter how small, could set off ripples of grace. But just as the conversation deepened, a distant rumble of thunder echoed across the sky, reminding them of the unpredictable nature of storms. Could they respond to the beckoning of the heart when faced with challenges? As they gathered around Margaret, sitting in solidarity, a question hung in the air. What if this was just the beginning of their journey into compassion, leading them toward divine encounters and miraculous surprises ahead? There was so much more to discover. The sound of gentle rain began to fall, tapping softly against the ground as if echoing the message of healing that had transpired in their hearts. The cool breeze wrapped around them, carrying a sense of purpose. Mary looked at Margaret, who now bore a weary smile. "Would you join us, Margaret, in sharing your kindness in the village?" Mary asked, her voice steady. "With every story you tell, we can bring warmth to others who need it." Margaret's eyes sparkled as hope kindled within her. "I would love that," she whispered, as if the weight of her loneliness began to lift. With renewed determination, the children gathered close, holding hands as they prepared to venture out into the night once more. The world around them felt transformed, the rain fell like blessings from the heavens, washing away uncertainty. They had tasted the powerful nectar of connection, and now, their purpose was clear. "We're a community," Tom declared, his voice unwavering, "and we can help one another." As they set off, the rhythm of raindrops became a heartwarming melody, urging them forward. Each step felt like a prayer, and Mary couldn't help but feel as if they were embarking on a sacred mission, a divine adventure into hearts yearning for restoration. They approached the nearby homes, beginning with Mrs. Adams, who welcomed them inside with open arms. As they shared their stories of kindness, the laughter echoed through her house, knitting memories in the air. A word here, a shared tear there, they began painting a tapestry of hope. With every story recounted, Margaret, the children, and the villagers connected, hearts intertwining like threads across an endless quilt. As they moved from home to home, weaving their kindness in the fabric of life, the rain subsided. The sun emerged shyly from behind thick clouds, casting brilliant beams of light over Hollowfield, shimmering through the leaves like divine affirmation. In the park, Mr. Jensen shared his own tales, a living library of experiences treasured through the years. His smile became a beacon, illuminating not just their shared laughter but the weight of unconditional love contained in each heartfelt story. They inspired one another to reach deeper and offer more. Every encounter drew greater connections among the villagers. The elderly shared wisdom, the children sparked ingenuity and imagination. Mary felt a warmth swell within her like never before. She was finally part of a greater rhyme, a divine script, divinely written as they stepped into the rhythm of compassion. And as they gathered for the final visit of the day at Mr. Thompson's, his face lit up as he saw them approaching. What a sight for sore eyes. Come, gather round, he said. His stories flowed freely, conjuring visions of hope and resilience. Mary, vibrant with joy, felt an anchor settle into her heart. What we have cultivated tonight, he said, his voice like honey enveloping them, is not just a gathering of stories but a seed planted in the very soil of our lives. It will grow if we continue to nourish it with kindness, courage, and love. Let this be a tradition that stretches beyond nights like these, a legacy of love that binds us together. Mary glanced at Tom, watched him twinkling with excitement, and knew that this moment was more than a mere anecdote. It was a tapestry of faith manifesting in extraordinary ways. They had unlocked a wellspring of connection that would ripple for generations. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting golden hues across the village, the air held an electrifying energy of faith. Mary understood now. This was the manifestation of something they had all longed for, a unity birthed from the simple yet profound act of sharing kindness. What awaits us tomorrow? Tom asked, gazing up at the vibrant starlit sky. Mary smiled lovingly. Tomorrow is another chance to create miracles together, my dear. Each day is an invitation from God to continue this story of love. And so, as they meandered homeward, hearts interlaced with hope and purpose, a quiet whisper threaded through the air, calling them to embrace the unfolding chapters of their lives, the promise of miraculous encounters and sacred connections awaiting them on the morrow. Now, dear friends, this is the moment to step forth in your own journey of kindness. You need to subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive faith stories that can change your life. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and help spread this message of love. Comment your reactions and testimonies about the ending, let your voice be heard. And share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this manifestation of hope. Don't wait even one more second. Show your support, for only true servants of God understand the importance of nurturing our community through acts of faith and kindness.